The haunting of Babcock, where shadows never rest. Tucked away from the modern world lies Babcock, a place where the past refuses to stay buried, and the thin veil between the living and the dead feels ever so fragile. To most, Babcock might seem like just another quiet town or forgotten corner of the map. But those who have dared to wander its abandoned streets, dense forests, or crumbling buildings know better. Babcock is haunted, deeply, relentlessly haunted. Tonight, we dive into the chilling legends, tragic history, and eerie encounters that make Babcock a hotbed of paranormal activity, a place where restless spirits linger, their stories etched into the very fabric of the land. A history marred by tragedy and mystery. The roots of Babcock's haunting reach far back into its troubled history. Long ago, this place was home to thriving communities who built their lives amid fertile fields and dense woods. But as the years passed, the town became shadowed by a string of tragic events, from devastating fires to unexplained disappearances and violent confrontations. Some speak of a mysterious curse placed on the land after a bitter feud between early settlers. Others claim Babcock sits on an ancient burial ground disturbed by settlers and later developers. Whatever the cause, the result is the same, a place soaked in sorrow and anger, unable to rest. Ghostly sightings and unexplainable phenomena. Over the decades, reports from locals and visitors alike have painted a haunting picture of Babcock. Apparitions of shadowy figures drifting through the fog have become almost commonplace. People have seen ghostly children playing along the edges of the forest, only to vanish when approached. One recurring tale tells of a pale woman in a tattered dress wandering the old Babcock Bridge at night, her mournful cries echoing over the water. Legend says she was lost to a tragic accident decades ago, and now seeks to warn away travelers. But it's not just visual phenomena. Witnesses often describe cold spots that chill the bone, sudden drops in temperature without explanation, and eerie sounds, whispers, footsteps, and the soft, rhythmic tapping of unknown origin. Paranormal hotspots in Babcock. Several locations within Babcock have become infamous for paranormal activity. The Old Town Cemetery, with its cracked headstones and overgrown paths, is said to be a nexus for restless spirits. Visitors report seeing ghostly lights dancing between the trees, or hearing faint chanting in the dead of night. The abandoned Babcock Mill, once the town's economic heart, stands as a crumbling monument to past prosperity and present unease. Workers who stayed late have recounted hearing tools drop on their own, shadowy figures moving just out of reach, and an overwhelming feeling of being watched. And then there's the Babcock Forest, dense, dark, and filled with ancient trees said to be the home of spirits both protective and vengeful. Many who enter the forest at night report losing their way or feeling compelled to leave suddenly, overcome by an unseen presence. The psychological toll of Babcock's haunting. The impact of Babcock's paranormal activity extends beyond fleeting chills. Locals speak of a heavy atmosphere, a feeling of oppression or sadness that lingers long after the sun rises. Some say it affects the mind, causing nightmares, anxiety, or a sense of being followed. This emotional weight is why many longtime residents avoid certain areas, especially after dark. Even skeptics who visit with the intent to debunk often leave with stories they can't explain and a new respect for the place's haunted reputation. Modern investigations and paranormal research. In recent years, Babcock has drawn the attention of paranormal investigators and enthusiasts. Armed with infrared cameras, EVP recorders, and EMF detectors, these teams have documented strange readings and sound that defy scientific explanation. One famous recording from the old mill captured a whispering voice clearly saying a name tied to a tragic event in Babcock's past. Thermal cameras have caught unexplained cold spots and flickering orbs drifting through abandoned buildings. While skeptics dismiss these as natural phenomena or tricks of the light, believers argue they are proof that Babcock spirits are still very much present, communicating from beyond the grave. Why does Babcock remain haunted? Many paranormal experts believe places like Babcock become haunted because of unresolved trauma, violent deaths, deep emotional pain, or spiritual imbalance. The land absorbs these energies, becoming a hotspot for supernatural activity. Others suggest that Babcock sits at a kind of spiritual crossroads, a place where the boundary between this world and the next is unusually thin. This would explain the density of ghost sightings and the strange behaviors reported. Whatever the reason, One thing is clear. Babcock is a place where the past is never far behind, and the dead have not yet found peace. Final thoughts. A town of shadows and stories. Babcock's haunted reputation is not just about fear. It's about history, memory, and the human need to understand what lies beyond death. The stories told in its misty streets and shadowed forests remind us that the world we see is only part of a much larger, stranger reality. So, if you ever find yourself near Babcock after dark, listen carefully to the whispers on the wind, watch the shifting shadows, and remember, in this place, the spirits never truly rest. They are waiting, watching, and sometimes they even reach out